Ricky Gervais, empath, school and Cadre. Hello, I'm H.G. Tudor. Previously, I analysed Ricky Gervais, looking at various aspects of his life and made the determination that, as per the criteria that I utilise, one would describe him as an empath. This means that he is an individual who has extensive emotional empathy for a wide range of people, that he is a bundle of both empathic and narcissistic traits, both of which can be strong, although the empathic ones will outrank the narcissistic ones. Doesn't make him a living saint. It doesn't make him flawless. He's a human being, and therefore is still prone to making mistakes and errors. But his day-to-day activity is guided by his emotional empathy for those around him. This all then, of course, forms the questions as to what school he is and what cadre might he be. Well, let us begin with his cadre. Seasoned viewers know that I divide empaths into 5 cadres: saviour, magnet, geezer, carrier, and martyr. You can learn more about those cadres from videos about those topics and, of course, material that becomes available to you as a consequence of you putting yourself through the empath detector. And if you're curious to learn whether you're an empath, and if so, what school and cadre you are, all you need to do is use the link in the video description to go to the Knowledge Vault and purchase the empath detector, and to join the many hundreds of people who've done similarly and unlocked lots of information about themselves. But we're examining Ricky Gervais, not you, at the moment. Now, when it comes to Gervais, it's evident that he has some charisma, that people like his presence. He's not going to be everybody's cup of tea, nobody ever is. But it's clear that as a consequence of his ability to maintain an audience, that he has many fans around the world, that he exhibits some form of magnetism. And therefore, I would see that the magnet cadre plays a part in the constitution of his overall cadre. And I would place that as a significant proportion, being 23%. It's also the case that we have witnessed considerable philanthropy on his part, primarily for animals. And therefore, there is a saviour aspect to his behaviour also, that he feels a need to ride into battle to protect other people. He primarily does this through advocacy and the provision of money, rather than necessarily rolling his sleeves up and getting involved in the front line. And with those thoughts in mind, I would similarly see that there is a significant proportion of him that is of the saviour cadre, 25%. Those are the 2 minority elements. Now, when it comes to the cadre, most individuals have 3 aspects. Some can have 4 and some can even have 5. With Gervais, I see 3 predominant aspects: magnet and saviour, as mentioned, and the third, as a majority, being geezer. This is an individual who doesn't keep his emotions in check. He wears his heart on his sleeve. This is demonstrative in the way that he writes. You only have to witness this through Derek and Afterlife, but also in his day-to-day behaviours, the way that he interacts with people in interviews, or the way that he is emotive about his life, and in particular, the way that he can't maintain a cold and detached individual, but rather finds great hilarity in much around him. His inability to stop laughing, which is seen by many as an endearing factor, is a driving factor of his geezer aspect. That he has a remarkably noticeable laugh, and that he can't keep himself quiet when he witnesses something funny, showing that he erupts with this particular emotion. He also exhibits considerable anger and with regard to those that hurt animals, and disdain for the idiocy of much of the behaviour of human beings. He is not somebody that operates in a cold and detached manner, or keeps much of his emotions in check and under wraps, but rather gives them full vent. and therefore I see him as a majority geezer at 52%. Thus, is Cadre, is geezer 52%, saviour 25%, and magnet 23%. We now turn to the question of his school. There are 4: standard, codependent, super, and contagion. Again, nobody falls to be totally one school. They usually are 3, sometimes just 2, and occasionally all 4. Here, I see that there is a sliver of codependency about Ricky Gervais, which is born out of his long-lasting relationship. This doesn't mean that his wife is a narcissist. Codependency can manifest outside of the narcissistic dynamic, whereby a codependent individual enjoys the security of being in a relationship. And I see this as having some impact, albeit not significant. And therefore, it is an insignificant element at just 10% for codependency. Whilst Gervais is not an individual that professes any spiritual inclination, he is somebody that shows an affinity towards the feelings of other people and an ability to pick up on those, assisted, of course, by his emotional empathy. And to that, I detect that there is a significant aspect of contagion about Ricky Gervais, which has clearly informed his writing with regard to the emotive aspects of Derek and Afterlife. And in the circumstances, I would ascribe a value of 20% to contagion. This leaves us with either super or standard. What is very clear about Ricky Gervais is that he has considerable emotional empathy, but he doesn't suffer fools gladly. That he's not beyond taking the Michael out of people as part of what he does professionally, but also whenever he's interviewed, whenever he's involved in a discussion, he is true to his belief, which is basically no fucks given. Not done in a dismissive or nasty way, but quite simply that he draws a line in the sand and says, that's not going to affect me. You cross that line, we're done. I'm not going to allow you to impact upon me. I haven't got time for this kind of Mickey Mouse bullshit. And to that end, I see that there is a significant majority that is exhibited by Gervais in relation to being a super empath. Somebody who will not tolerate poor behaviour and will actively identify it and call it out and shows little tolerance for it with regard to his own life. And to that end, I place him at 70% super empath. Thus, with regard to his school, Gervais is 70% super, 20% contagion, and 10% codependent. How does that accord with how you thought that his school and Cadre might pan out? Undoubtedly, you'll let me know in the comments section. I'm H.G. Tudor. Thank you for listening.